students, welcome to my class. Today, as I have already began this morning about the chapter 7, the history part, and here basically we will be talking about the education system of this pre-British era, and also during the British rule. How was our education system? So on this regard, I'll be talking mostly. So let us know some of the objectives of this chapter. In fact, we how we can read about it. So the first objective of this chapter, in fact, is speaking about that it is a kind of like a introduction of the new education system. Okay, first objective we will be understand about the introduction of the new education system. Second objectives to understand the history of a present day educational system, and then again the third one is to learn about the changes in the indigenous systems of education, and the fourth objective that we have got, that is to understand the growth of national education. So here when we understand about the introduction of the education system in India, when the British took control in every sphere of the areas and the systems, then we find that there was a certain changes in the educational system. So let us know in the introduction part what are the things we need to know first of all. So the present system of this education that is actually being followed in the country is a legacy of the education system introduced by the British, in fact we can find. And then Indian education systems, that is basically we have got like what is spoken in this the Indian education system that has been actually evolved since the British period, and particularly at the high school level in the 1950s. What we can see, the senior Cambridge examination gave way to the Indian school certificates, that is examination, that is in the short form ICSE, okay, the administered by the Council for the Indian School Certificate Examination. So simultaneously, the Central Board of Secondary Education, that is a CBSE, began consolidating its position. And then in the course of time, you know what happened, states across the country actually came up with their own boards to provide quality education. So let us know education in India before the British rule, how our education system in India. Now, before the advent of the Britishers, okay, especially how our education system. Now, first of all, we have to know about the elementary education. Elementary education was actually confined to pathshalas and also the maktabs. Okay, then you can find here pathshalas and maktabs were actually available at that time. And then again for higher education, there were tolls and madrasas. These are the few things that actually we find in the country like India. And then the elementary education imparted actually rudimentary learning, while only a few students took to higher education. And then education was actually imparted in Sanskrit. In a Sanskrit we can see. Then when we talk about the Sanskrit, you can see that here mostly, the education was actually imparted Sanskrit, not only in Sanskrit but then also in Arabic and Persian even. So that is also we can see in the Indian education system. And the subjects taught were mainly confined to law, religion, logic, medicines and astronomy, and were based on the ancient texts. Okay, so here we can find. Okay, since we had the all sorts of like subjects in our like earlier systems of education. For example, we had the law, religion, logic, medicines, and astronomy. But you see, in spite of all this having, why we didn't have that much scientists in our country, even though it has been like a long back, people were studying and they studied so many things about it, and then and yet people didn't become much scientists after having read through and in spite of having all these subjects from the right time onwards. So anyway, there is a question, okay, there is a question whether these are things are applied in a proper way or not. and whether it is really for the shop or just to utilized, that actually when we read about the history properly we come to know. Okay, then again, the new wave of thinking of Renaissance in the West was actually yet to reach the Indian shores, and a scientific research and a thinking were actually at their lowest. So, under such circumstances, superstition and a backward social customs flourished, and during this period, education was neither organized nor supported by the state. So it means it is very clear that in spite of having this logic, medicines, religion, law, astronomy, but in India we can see that a superstition was actually invaded in the mind and heart of the people, and maximum people were in fact were not perhaps gone for the education, and as a result of many people were possessing different varieties like evil evils actually existed in the society, and mostly the superstitions. So that's why when the European came, they have learned about our cultures, and they found that most of us in fact treated and behaved this way. So that's why sometimes we can find that we were very much insulted. Okay. So anyway, during this period, education was actually neither organized nor supported by any of the state. So that is the things actually given. So let us know about the emergence of the modern system of education, how this system was actually changed gradually, and then the British came to India as a trading group, we know that, and then eventually when they came, when they took control over country India, eventually they have not given much importance on the education, but rather they have given the importance on the how to how to polarize the things and all, and how to manipulate the things of India, and that's why they gave much importance on that, and they earn a lot of money, and they didn't invest their money in India. Rather, they have taken every bit of things and all from India to their own country. So that's why. But as the year have been passing by, then it came into the mind of these Britishers, and they realized that most of the works are actually done by the Britishers. Actually, the members are in fact insufficient, and therefore they thought of maybe to give the education to the our Indian people in certain areas, so that they can assist the Britishers during their work activities. Okay? So that is the purpose actually maybe in their mind. But later on, this would have taken a large shape, and how this education system in fact changed the life of the people, and people started gradually loving their national items, and people more they became familiar with their indigenous articles, and people started loving it. So, and many other books in fact came across, and then people read about it. So that's why here you can see that when the British took control of the administration of the country, they felt the acute need for clerks to maintain records and files. So to get them from England did not seem a viable proposition, as these positions were actually lowly paid. So that's why in a Europe country, people will not do such kind of low job, and so they didn't find such kind of people from Europe country. So rather they thought to teach some kind of like a calculation to the Indians, and also the language, so that people can do the job, especially this low job for the Britishers. Okay, so that was when they decided to introduce the English system of education in India, and this would actually serve twofold purposes. Okay? So here one, there would be a rich pool of literate Indians who would be able to discharge the duties of clerks effectively, and two, by being introduced to the Calcutta Madrasa was actually established in 1781 by Warren Hastings, and Banaras Sanskrit College in 1791, and it was started by Jonathan Duncan, and Christian missionaries also started opening English medium schools in India. So today we have the thousands and thousands of English medium schools in India, and people in some extent they are actually earning from these sources. Alright, so the Calcutta Madrasa was actually established in 1781. This one also we should very much as a general knowledge we should know it. Okay, now let us know about the Orientalist versus Anglicist. Here, what is the difference we can find in them? So we can see. Now the British actually certainly felt for the need of a system of education, but they were not sure on whether to continue with the existing system of education or to introduce the English system. So they were confused in this area especially. But later on, many of the Britishers actually started giving the different opinions of their own, and out of that, opinions were actually split on this subject as there emerged two distinct voices. So, namely, we have to understand about the Orientalist, that is the advocated the spirit of Orientalist literature and learning, and again the Anglicist or the English party approved promotion of Western learning through the medium of English. So these two categories of the people actually started coming forward for the different activities they supposed to perform. So now the importance of encouraging learning through the vernacular languages could not be ignored. Now these languages were actually required for administrative activities, for expounding Hindu and Muslim laws, for judiciary purposes, and for political correspondence with the various rulers, and for communicating with the people in general. However, the knowledge in fact of English and Western learning became essential for competing for various offices and earning emoluments. Okay, so many Indians such as Rajaram Mohan Roy, they ardently actually advocated Western learning and English education. So some enlightened Bengalis had set up the Calcutta Hindu College in 1817 for that purpose. So in order to settle the matter, the British in fact appointed Lord Macaulay. You must remember Lord Macaulay, and the controversy between the Anglicist and the Orientalist was actually settled by Macaulay's Minute. Now see, Macaulay's Minute formed the basis for the reforms introduced in the English Education Act, that is in 1835. Okay, so this age and all you have to remember. So let us know about the Wood's Dispatch. What exactly this Wood's Dispatch is all about. Now see, the East India Company was actually granted the right to trade in India by an act of the British Parliament, and so this is known as the East India Company Act or the Charter Act. Okay, this is the agreement actually done. Now British Parliament actually exercised control over the East India Company through this act, and after every 20 years a new Charter Act was actually issued to the company by the British government. Now in the charter, which known as the Charter Act of 1813, a sum of rupees 1 lakh was actually sanctioned for the development of the education in India. So the Charter Act of 1833 increased the sum to 10 lakh rupees, and in 1853 the company's charter was actually reviewed in the British Parliament, and it was then felt that there had to be a permanent and a comprehensive education policy for India. So a committee was actually set up by the British Parliament to decide the policy for Indian education. So the committee thoroughly studied the contemporary Indian education system and the role that the company actually played. The president of the company's board of control was Sir Charles Wood. So he declared the education policy on 19 July, that is in the year of 1854, and it actually therefore is known as the Wood's Dispatch. Okay, so now understood the purpose behind this Wood's Dispatch, okay, in its name. Now what is the aims of this Wood's Dispatch? Okay, so let us know about the aims of Wood's Dispatch. Now the first aim is what actually we have to know, that to raise the intellectual standard and a mental development of the Indians. Second aims was actually to introduce the Western education and science to Indians, and to promote their material prosperity. Then a third one, to develop the character and a morality of Indians along the Western education of thoughts. and the fourth one to produce proper able workers for the East India Company. So these are the four aims actually put forward, or the Woods Dispatch actually put forward, and this was actually applied. Okay, so during this time, let us know about also the curriculum of education actually here. So the first curriculum we can find that Oriental language was there, and then a literature. Okay, here remember. Then a special emphasis on a Western knowledge and a science. So these two, varieties of knowledge was actually they focus more importantly. Then a third one curriculum was there, that limited access to religious education. So in spite of a lot of learning, they gave very little about the religious learning and all, because this ultimately will to make you not too much advance in your education. Therefore religious education was given very little, as today we can find in the school moral science as a religious studies in some of the Don Bosco and other Christian missionary running some of the schools. We can see that there are some of the religious instructions are there but today people can choose whether to select the moral science or directly some other subjects. So like that, even in madrasa also maybe the religious studies are there. So that is how people are actually choosing them by themselves. Okay, now let us know about the medium of instruction. So when this education began of this Woods Dispatch, so which are the medium of the instruction at this time we can find. So, and first of all we see that native language and English to be actually the medium of primary education. So native languages and English to be the medium of the primary education. Second one, we found that English to be the medium of higher education. Okay, so in the beginning you will learn in your own local language, and then gradually as you go upwards, as you secure higher education, secure at the higher level, then you will be given the English a little bit important. So that is the system they put. Even today it is there. Now this led to the opening of many schools for imparting the Western system of education in English, and the Woods Dispatch made actually provision for systematic method of education from the primary to university level. So an education department was actually set up in all provinces, and in Bombay, Madras and Calcutta universities were actually opened, and it emphasized on the provision of every district with at least one government school, and provision was actually made for grants in aid for private schools affiliated to the government. So that is we can find in the medium instructions with this Woods Dispatch. Now we have got one more point to be discussed here, that is about the national education. Okay, national education, how far was given the emphasis in this regard. Now see, many Indians were actually educated in English medium schools and colleges, so that is very natural. So this made them more aware about what is happening in the rest of the world. Okay, it means they became aware about the rest of the world. So they did not confine themselves only in India, but other part of the world, how they are facing, and what type of difficulties and problems they are undergoing. Every bit of things they started understanding, and then and this is not other than the language. In fact, language helped them to understand better this system. So therefore they got to know about the great thinkers of that time who talked about equality of humans and the freedom of nations. Then you can also find that this stirs a nationalistic spirit in the minds of the educated people. Okay, so soon the country actually witnessed popular uprisings in the form of Swadeshi and a boycott movement. So Indians stopped going to the English medium schools and colleges as mark of their protest. So you can see that people gradually understood, and in the towards the beginning of this video, so I have spoken that people gradually, when they educated, they understood about the monopoly of these Britishers. So that's why people, even though they have learned, they have gone through everything, but then they stop going to the English medium later on. So again, So on like a 16 November and all, you can see that is in the 1905. Actually, eminent Bengalis including Rabindranath Tagore, Aurobindo Ghosh, Raja Subhad Chandra, then Maulik and Rajendra Kishore Roy Chaudhary met. Okay, they all each other actually they started coming to know, and the idea of the National Council of Education was actually proposed here. Okay, that is they actually organized, and in a meeting held in a few months later, that is Subhad Chandra Maulik pledged 1 lakh rupees for the foundation of a national university in Bengal, then which is actually now Jadavpur University. Okay, and the objective is setting up this institution was to challenge the British rule over education by offering education to the masses on national lines and under national control. So here Raj Bihari Ghosh was actually appointed the first president of the university. So this is we can find there. So in the next class, in the next my video, we will be talking about the again Nai Talim, then objectives of Nai Talim, Tagore's Award of Peace. So all this matter we will be talking about. Okay. So I'll see you in the next video.